Hey guys, it's Andrea here at VW Family Farm, and I got a question for you. Have you ever wondered what it takes to grow pigs in the woods? Well, today I'm going to tell you why we do it and the 4 things you need if you want to do it. So the first thing you're going to need is obviously some sort of way to keep them in the woods. You're going to need some sort of fence. So let me show you our setup here and tell you why we do this. So this is our setup right here. This is electric fencing. A lot of people will keep pigs even with just 1 wire. If you're gonna do that, you're probably gonna want it about 12 inches high. A lot of times that will be like on the interior of a fence if you're splitting it into paddocks, or just if you're fencing off certain areas or whatever it is you're doing. A lot of people will not do that on their perimeter fence. You can see this actually is our perimeter fence, and we have 2 strands. If you're gonna have 2 strands, you're probably gonna want to put them about 10 inches and about 18 inches high. A lot of suggestions, if you read about doing this, about fencing pigs out in pasture, or like this is a woodlot system, you're gonna read that it's suggested to put like woven wire as your perimeter fence, and that is a good idea. And a lot of times people will do that, and you need that to be at least 40 inches high if you're gonna go that route. And you're probably still gonna want at least 1 strand of hot wire on the interior of that, so that the pigs get to an electric fence before they get to the woven wire. So this works for us because our fence is always hot. We rotationally graze our cattle, so we actually have this jumpered off. So this is actually a very powerful fence, I guess you would say. Our cattle are behind a pretty high-powered charger, so it gives them a pop. So our pigs do not test this. They can sense it. They don't even get close to it. But you do have to keep your hot wire hot at all times for this to work. One tip, and this is very important if you're going to use electric fencing: train them to it. Put them in some sort of small pen with a perimeter fence and hot wire offset from that, where they can get used to what it feels like if they challenge that fence. Because we did not do that the first batch we put out here, and it was a pig rodeo. They ran, even though this was a very hot fence, they didn't just come up and check it out. They didn't know what it was. They couldn't even see it because they were not used to that. Ran right through it, and we chased them all over. You can see I'm in the middle of a wide open field. It was a nightmare. We like to have never got them all back in. So learn from us. Don't do that. Train them first if you're going to use only hot wire. Otherwise, if you're offsetting a fence, you'll probably be okay. If you're using woven wire and just an offset hot wire, you'll probably be okay, because even if they challenge that fence, there's still another fence they can visibly see there. The final thing to consider on whatever fence you choose is that you're not only trying to keep your pigs in, but you want to keep predators out. Things like coyotes and especially feral hogs. If you're in a place where there's feral hogs, we don't have to worry about that as much. But not only could feral hogs get in and introduce disease into your herd, they could also get in and breed your sows, and you don't want that. You're raising a specific type for a reason. So just take those things into consideration. Dogs are really bad to bother pigs, and they'll run them right through the fence, and you may never see your pigs again. So just think about those things when you consider your fencing choices. Second thing you're gonna need if you are gonna raise pigs in the woods is water. That's very important. You're gonna need drinking water, and you're gonna need to allow them to probably have some sort of waller place. Even heritage breed pigs like we have, they don't root, but they still waller. And they will root a little bit, but they don't root, I mean, they're not gonna come in and just till up a field like just traditional crossbred pigs are, like traditional pigs today. They're not going to do that. They don't root that much, but they do waller. They like to have a place to cool off and get wet, and if you don't choose a place to make them one, they're going to choose one. So it may not be where you want it if you don't specifically make a wet area for them. But I would not suggest letting that be their drinking water. I'm going to show you what we have. We got these used. They're just a big water tank. I think these may hold like 75 gallons. That could be totally wrong, but they hold quite a bit of water. But I have to fill this thing up every day. So you have to consider, how are you gonna get your water here? We have a mile of water line we ran through the middle of our property, and I've jumpered off of it to get a water hose over here. It's kind of a pain, but I'm thankful to have water back here. I have to go plug it in every day and water them every day, and it's another chore, but I'm thankful to have it, and I don't have to worry about, you know, waiting on the rain to come and fill up some pond or something. I'm giving them fresh, clean water every day. One thing I want to mention about the water too is you don't really want pig waste. It can be kind of toxic. You don't want that to like get in your streams and like waterways that are gonna flow into something bigger that's like gonna water your other animals, or that's, you know, like for some reason part of your drinking water or something like that. You just really don't want that. So I would make sure that you consider that when you're making the pigs waller hole and where you're watering them and all that, that place is not gonna have runoff, say, into a creek that then you're watering your cows from a little down the line. That would just not be a good setup. So I would suggest clean water if you can. We've not always done that, but I would suggest it if at all possible, watering them somehow with fresh water. Now, I mentioned that you don't want to let like pig waste to get into your water supply and things like that. There's nothing wrong with fertilizing with pig waste like out on your pasture if you're moving them around. It's a great fertilizer for like the next crop coming up. That does great. But in a forested situation, it's just a bit different. Trees don't use that waste and those nutrients as fast as grasses do. So that's why I'm saying it can be kind of toxic, because it can just run off into your streams because it's not being used. So I don't mean to say that it's not a good fertilizer, because it most definitely is. Third thing is very important, but it can be very simple. You can see this woodlot is pretty growed up. We just put the pigs in here. They've cleared out a lot of it, which they're really good at doing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But they haven't cleared out this spot yet because it's not cold outside. This is actually a pig shelter, and when it gets cold outside, there's a door on the other side. They will pile up in there and snuggle and stay warm. But right now it's really nice weather. So as far as what they need for shelter, which is number 3, is they're just using these trees. So your shelter can be something as simple as, you know, woods that there's dense trees that they can get in and get out of the weather. It could be, you know, a stack of some hay bales with a tarp over it, all the way up to something fancy like a barn or something. But you do need some kind of shelter because pigs are prone to pneumonia. So if you're gonna have them in there in cold weather, they need some sort of shelter. All right, guys, we are walking back up here to where the pigs are for our final thing. And this is probably one of the top key things to raising pigs in a woodlot situation. It's why we do it, and it's necessary. And that is the nutritional value of doing it. So you need to think about what is in the woods that the pigs can eat. Why would you even do this? So one of the main reasons for us putting pigs in the woods is because of the food they can forage out here. Not to mention it's just healthy for them. It's a natural environment for pigs. That's where wild hogs do live, is in woods and not very populated areas. They will seek out like woods and farmland and things like that. But not only that, because it's a natural habitat, but it is also where they can forage for things like, in our area, like acorns off oak trees, persimmons, walnuts, all kinds of just fruits and berries and nuts and things like that, roots. So it provides them an awesome source of nutrients, as well as forested pork has a flavor like none other. Now, it takes about 6 weeks for whatever a pig is eating for it to influence its flavor. So we do not leave pigs back here all the time. If you've been watching our videos, we just moved them back here. they're gonna be going to butcher in a few months, but they are finishing off back here. That's because this is the time of year that there is food available back here. And then after this batch, we will give this area a rest because it's essential to rest the land, no matter if it's the forest or if it is, you know, a pasture or whatever. We are rotationally grazing even these pigs by letting this land rest. And then there's just no benefit to having them back here when there's nothing to eat back here. Also, just like they will root up invasive species of plants, they will also root up and damage good things that you want to keep if you leave them too long. You don't want to overpopulate it with pigs, and you don't want to come say hi? And you don't want to let them just decimate the land either. So I would say consider what you have available. Each source of, like, you see the dust? Each thing they might be eating in your forest is probably going to have a bumper crop every like 3 to 5 years. So while it may be a bumper crop year for acorns or pecans or walnuts or something like that, it may not be a bumper crop year of persimmons, but vice versa. So they're going to get different things to eat. They're going to have a different flavor profile, but it is a flavor like none other. It's just once you taste it, you won't want to go back to just traditional raised pork. It's so delicious. But I would suggest having your pigs, you know, a bit bigger before you put them in the forest, because if you take them out of the forest and then it's a long time before butcher, you're not really going to have that come through in the flavor because it's going to transition to whatever you put them on next. I would also suggest you really need to feed pigs as well. You need to supplement their diet. You can't just stick a pig in the woods and expect them to grow out big and hearty and be at a big, good butcher weight if you're not feeding them anything supplemental wise. So I'm going to take you over here and show you what we feed. So we feed a pig food that is local to our area. We really try to invest in the local market. It's specifically designed for growing out pigs. It works great, and every pig on our farm, as soon as they are old enough to eat, and eat, you know, quite regularly, not just a baby that's just weaned off its mama, but pretty quickly thereafter, every pig, every single day, gets 6 pounds of food. So like right now, there is 23 pigs back here. I bring 6 5-gallon buckets every day. That's 6 pounds per pig, and that's what they eat in addition to foraging. This was such a growed up mess when they come back here, and you can see they've already cleared a lot of it. They're doing a great job. They're foraging, they're happy, and we're happy, and we're looking forward to some tasty pork. I hope that gives you guys some helpful information about raising pigs in the forest. It is a great thing to do. I suggest you try it. I suggest you be ready before you just stick them back there. And if you do these things, these small steps, I think you'll have success, and I think you will be very pleased with how your pork turns out, and that next pork chop will be out of this world. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Come back and join our channel again. I encourage you to subscribe down below. We'd love to have you as part of our YouTube family. See you guys later. God bless.